Hey guys, my name is Courtney and I am here in Lost Cycle, and I'm going to show you today how to set up your spin bike for when you come ride here at Lost Cycle. Our bike model is called the Frequency S30, and I'm just going to go over the mechanics of the bike and everything you need to know to have your proper setup to get riding. So first things first, I usually recommend people to start with their seat height. So we want to use our hip bone as a good starting point to guide where the seat height needs to be. So this one's a little bit high for me, so I know that I need to bring it down just a couple inches. So with this lever here, we can loosen that seat post and then bring it down till it's approximately at our hip height, and then we want to get this really nice and tight. So we always recommend that you use both hands to really give it one good crank so that you don't risk the seat sliding down on you once you get riding. Now, typically, I like to move my seat back a little bit, but I always recommend having a seat on the bike first before making those adjustments so that it makes your life a little bit easier. But before we get to the seat, let's head on over to the handlebars. So these handlebars are almost as low as they can go. I usually recommend bringing them up just slightly higher than your seat. Now, keeping in mind that outdoor riding is a little bit different, and you typically want your handlebars at the same height as your seat, but for rhythm riding you want them a little bit higher just because you are going to be doing some choreography and some moves that will require the handlebars being a little bit closer. Now again, you'll want to make sure this is nice and tight as well. Make sure that it's not going anywhere when you're going to be pressing on it during the class. To adjust the handlebars forward and back, you really don't need to do this in many cases with our model of bike. In the event that you do find the handlebars are a little bit too close or a little bit too far, with the crank lever, you can loosen those up, slide them to where you like them, and make sure you tighten that crank as much as possible. So let's come back to the seat. So we have our handlebars up nice and high, and we have our seat approximately where I think it should be for me. So before you even clip in, I advise just taking a little seat and testing out your height here. So for me, this would be okay. I personally feel just a little bit close to my handlebars, and it's a lot easier to adjust your seat rather than your handlebars. So I personally am just gonna bring mine back a touch. By pushing down on this red lever, you're gonna stop your flywheel. So if you are testing out your bike, make sure you stop that flywheel, and then we can hop off. I'm gonna slide my seat back just an inch or so. Again, tightening this really nice and tight so that I'm not going anywhere, and then coming back to my seat and making sure that my height's okay. So for many of you, you might not know necessarily what is the right height, so I'm gonna give you kind of a guideline here. So you can see when I pedal, I have just a slight bend in my knee. I'm not hyperextending. I'm actually pretty comfortable on this bike right now, and I know that I could pick up that speed and not feel any kind of pressure in my legs. Now, if you are too high, you're gonna notice that your hips are gonna be kind of seesawing off the side of the saddle, and that's when you know that you need to bring it down a little bit. In the event that you're too low, you're gonna really start to feel that pressure in your knees as you pedal. As you can see, I can reach to that first position with just a nice little slight bend in my elbows so that I know I'm good to set up here. If you found that you were really reaching to feel this first bar, then we know that you're just a little bit too far away, and we want to bring you a little bit closer. So that's just your basic setup. Our staff members will be here to check on you and make sure your setup's proper, but this is just kind of your guideline to get you started before we get into those classes. Thank you.